Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And hello. A good day to all my friends. You've arrived at California's number one place to talk about our state's food and beverage scene with always a local, seasonal, and sustainable focus. This is Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour. It's our goal to put you in touch with the farmers who grow, the producers who make, and the people who know about your favorite food and drink here in beautiful California. Today's show, as always, coming to you from California's Central Coast. And later on today's program, we will catch up with the chief sports nutritionist at USC. She's the woman who keeps all of the athletes in top shape as they, try to defend the Trojan crown. And she will join us to talk about California-grown pistachios and why they are so good for you and contain tons of antioxidants and that sort of thing. So we'll be talking pistachios a little bit later here on the program. Also, changing the county law, the county rules down in San Diego to make it easier for operators and vendors at some of the farmers markets there. They had run into a problem with a lot of paperwork. So one county supervisor will join us to explain how she's pushing through a whole new set of rules to make it easier for everyone. And if you run a market in any other county in California, you'll want to tune into this to find out what she has in store. We do want to let you know that you can always watch our show as well as listen on the radio if you head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We produce a video simulcast that can be seen during the show. And then after the show is over, we rebroadcast it through our YouTube channel. You can also find links on Facebook and Twitter. All of the social networks available at /EatDrinkExplore is our username for everything. But first up this hour, it is our regular CookWell with Courtney segment. We love having Courtney Coleman on the show. Today we're trying something a little bit different. We'll see if it works well. This is our first time trying it. But Courtney joins us via Google. They don't call it Google Chat anymore. What do they call it?
Hangout.
It's Google Hangout. That's right, Google Hangout. And so we did this so that we could put Courtney live into our video stream to see how that works, and we'll try it with a different headset next week, but I think we can hear you just fine. Courtney, how are you doing today?
Great.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, it's November, and the overnight temperatures have gotten chilly for sure. The days are nice and warm still, but I'm sure most of the people listening right now have grabbed at least one comforter or more to add to their couch or to their bed or wherever they want to get all cozy. And you can also eat differently this time of year to help with warmth. I'm guessing that's what warming foods are. Do I have that right, Courtney?
Yes. And it's interesting that what Mother Nature gives us naturally at certain times of year is balancing to the body. Foods that grow in the spring and summer have a cooling thermal effect on the body, and then foods that grow in the fall and winter have a more of a warming effect on the body. And you can choose to eat things like more animal protein and good whole saturated fats that build warmth and strength for the winter months. And there's a lot of them.
Coconut oil has saturated fat, does it not?
Yes, it does. All good whole fats like that are warming.
After I spoke with you the couple of weeks ago, you had mentioned coconut oil, and then I saw it while shopping the other day, so I grabbed a big tub of it. Boy, I was surprised at how hard that oil is when you try to put a knife into it. I thought it was gonna slice like butter, but it didn't. It's really hard. I used it to make some a little stir fry the other day, and it came out. It was delicious. I really liked it. But we used to be afraid of saturated fats. We don't have to be.
No, this is how our ancestors ate, and our ancestors stayed away from trans fats. You see, it's the combination of the trans fats and the saturated fats that's blocking our arteries. what happens with refined vegetable oils. And we all know that there's trans fats in hydrogenated oils and the processed oils that are solid at room temperature but that aren't naturally that way because of hydrogenation. How do you say that?
Hydrogenation.
There you go, hydrogenation.
Yeah. And just I'll do a quick little science thing here. The way that fats are structured, if you add hydrogen to the atom, am I saying that right? Or to the molecule? Thank you. The more hydrogen atoms that are on there, the thicker the oil is. And then when you have all the little openings, this is really in a nutshell, but you have all the little openings that could possibly have a hydrogen atom attached, molecule attached. If you do that and they're all filled, that means it's saturated. Literally, you cannot possibly put another hydrogen atom on there. You can do that artificially, and when you do that, it makes it thick, but what you're saying is coconut oil naturally comes that way, and that's a big difference.
Right, and all animal fats, too, are solid at room temperature as nature gives them to us, which is something the body understands and can utilize and recognize, and is actually very important for heart health, because if you don't get any of the bad cholesterol, your liver will then begin to overproduce it because our bodies need it for a lot of different functions, and it's very important for brain and nerve function. Our brain and nervous system is basically almost entirely made up of fats. And hormone balance and skin. I mean, it's really important for our whole body to get some of that good quality butter, coconut oil, or clarified butter, which is also called ghee, or save the fat from your nitrate-free bacon and use it in your high heat cooking. See, stable oils for high heat cooking, molecularly stable oils, are the ones that are solid at room temperature, like I just mentioned.
Other than the coconut oil, are there any other plant-based oils that contain this saturated fat? Is palm oil that way?
Yeah, palm and coconut are the two that are recommended for high heat cooking if you're gonna do high heat cooking. And the medium heat oils are ones that are from a plant source that aren't so, it's not good to heat them up to high or temperatures. The ones that I just use for maybe like eggs or a quick stir fry with water added would be unrefined, or extra virgin is the other word for unrefined. Good quality olive oil and sesame oil. Those are the two I use for medium heat, and then high heat I always use ghee or coconut oil or leftover bacon fat.
Avocado oil works really well with high heat. It's one of the highest heat oils as well. So, and that has some good fats in it for you.
Yeah, and they say peanut and grapeseed as well, but I've never been able to find any of those that are organic and unrefined. I want to see. Those are the two things I want to see on a label: is organic and unrefined, and especially organic for grape and peanut, because those two crops are very heavily pesticided.
Yes. All right, yeah. We are speaking with Courtney Coleman. She is with CookWell.org, and we'll be back in just a moment to talk more about building foods and warming foods as we head into November. I'm your host, Randall White. We're back in just a moment. And welcome back, everyone, to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour. Great to have you with us, as always. I'm your host, Randall White. We come to you live each and every week here on this very station. We do want to let you know that a little bit later in the program, we'll be talking California pistachios and why those are so incredibly healthy for you with their antioxidants and such. And then after that, we head down to San Diego County, where one county supervisor is working to make it much easier for vendors and market operators to operate within the county. We're talking about some of the unincorporated areas of San Diego County where it was really a lot of red tape for the vendors to take part in these farmers markets, costing them quite a bit more money to to participate. She wants to clear the way for that, and so we'll speak with her coming up a little bit later. But right now, we welcome back to the program Courtney Coleman for our regular CookWell with Courtney segment. We're talking warming and building foods. We talked a little bit before the commercial break about warming foods using saturated fats. What are some other good ones, Courtney?
As far as fats?
As far as warming foods.
Oh, anything that grows in the fall and winter.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the root vegetables, winter squash,
Beets.
Onion,
Mm-hmm.
anything in the broccoli family. I mean, I eat kale all year round because it's so anti-cancer, so cleansing, so full of bioavailable minerals. I eat it year round because it grows here year round. We live in a temperate climate, but those are technically more of the warming, sturdy winter veggies, the ones that have the leathery, tough leaves, like kale, cabbage, collard greens, Brussels sprout greens, or Brussels sprouts. But
Mm-hmm.
it's funny. If you go to farmers markets and you see your farmer kind of tossing away the cauliflower greens or the Brussels sprout greens just for compost or whatever and kind of cutting away the part that is sold, you can ask them for a bag of those greens and they'll probably just give them to you. And if it's, a pretty conscious farmer, doesn't have to technically be organic, but if they're not using sprays and they're not using petroleum-based fertilizers, I will talk to farmers, find out who those people are and shop with them, and I'll get a bag of cauliflower greens or Brussels sprout greens for free because they're just going to use them for compost anyway.
What a great money-saving tip. I like that.
Yeah, I bet you they'll start being sold soon.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because since we compost here at the house, when we bring our beets home or our carrots or anything that has really big tops, green tops, I cut them off and I always think to myself, I really need to Google to find out if I can cook these because I feel like there's so much of them that I'm putting in the compost, but I figure, well, I'll be eating them someday in a different form. But But you can eat any of those tops? Like cook them up in different dishes?
Yeah, and I would say that the beet tops have a lot of what's called oxalic acid. So that would bind with minerals and inhibit mineral absorption in your intestine.
Oh.
Mature spinach has it as well in large amounts. Baby spinach, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But also chard and, of course, rhubarb, but which not a lot of people eat all the time. But you know that feeling on your teeth when you eat beet tops or chard, and you get that feeling on your teeth like the enamel's coming off of your teeth?
Yeah, almost like a sandy or I don't know.
Kind of.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like vinegar or lemon juice. It's like you bit into a lemon is what it feels like.
Right.
That's the oxalic acid. And so there's two ways to what's called neutralize that oxalic acid, and it's by either cooking with an alginic acid sea veggie, which we can talk about a whole
show on that.
minutes on that, yeah, or by fermentation, by throwing it into a kraut or a kimchi.
Aha. And that'll neutralize it.
The chard and spinach and beet tops, I just eat those like once a week or, if I'm out at a potluck or out to dinner or something, I don't worry about it. I just don't buy them all the time.
Right. So those are warming foods. What is building foods? What's a building food?
Building means strengthening and fortifying. You know how some people are always underweight and always cold, and they have the cold hands and feet, and they want the covers on at night,
Mm-hmm.
and they may be pale with kind of like a weak voice and a shallow pulse. Those people are considered in Chinese medicine to be what's called deficient, and they need the warming building foods to come back to balance. And so animal protein and more of those good whole fats are going to warm them up and build their strength.
What about for vegans like me, or I now call myself a sensible vegan because eating out is next to impossible. So at home where I can control everything, that's where I'm, pretty strict vegan. When I go out now, if there's some cheese on something, I'm not going to send it back. If egg happens to be in my black bean burger, I'm like, okay, But so for someone like me who doesn't get a lot of the animal proteins that you're talking about, are there some good options for these warming building foods?
There's some good whole grains that are really nutrient dense and packed with amino acids that they're not going to be as high a purine protein as animal food, but like amaranth is a whole grain that's a teeny tiny little grain.
It's so tiny, yeah.
I know, it's like a pinhead, but it's tons of iron and calcium in that grain. And that in countries where that grain is the staple grain, there is no malnutrition.
Amaranth.
Yeah, amaranth, and they say kamut and rye and wheat if you're okay with wheat. They're also warming and building.
Yeah, amaranth you can find in the bin sections at some of your favorite stores. Where I shop at New Frontiers, I just do a few scoops of it. And then a lot of times I'll mix the amaranth in with quinoa as I'm cooking it. Like 2/3 quinoa, 1/3 amaranth. And from what I understand, those two combine to make a absolute perfect protein.
Awesome. And how's the texture? I've never combined those two before in simmering.
It's thicker. So like quinoa can be really fluffy, when you put the amaranth and the quinoa together, it becomes a little more porridgey, a little more dense,
Yeah, that's great that you're mixing them because the amaranth is so gel-like.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mix it with millet.
Oh, with millet, yeah. I can see where that would be good.
It comes out like polenta, the texture and the flavor. It's amazing.
I've added it to millet one time, and it might have been at your suggestion. I'm not sure. I just haven't made millet since then. So, in fact, we're out of rice now, so I think I try to rotate my grains. Is that a good idea?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So you're getting a variety of those different wonderful minerals, phytonutrients.
Yeah, we'll do a big giant pot of rice, and then we'll do, a big pot of the millet or what have you, and then quinoa. Plus, we get tongue fatigue, with some of the different things. I don't know if that's a term or not, but...
Like, tired of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how many more minutes do we have on this section here?
I think go about a minute or so. You have another thing to launch into? Yeah,
well, basically, cooking your vegetables for a long time also imparts a warming thermal nature.
Oh.
And using tools like a cast iron versus stainless steel, tools that hold more heat. So you think about baking, pressure cooking, simmering all day long. Those are also impart a warming thermal nature into your food. So Randall, for you who are vegan, if you're feeling cold, that might be a better way to cook, especially in the fall and winter months. And adding the copious amounts of coconut oil into your cooking will help too.
I like that. I use a pressure cooker a lot, but that actually speeds up the process of what I need to do more of. So what about like a crock pot? Would that be a good way to do it? Put a bunch of vegetables in there and let it go all day?
For sure. Totally. The crock pot is your friend. I'm going to do a class with my friend Zola in February or March at New Frontiers called The Crock Pot is Your Friend.
and we should mention people can find a complete list of all of your classes on your website, CookWell.org. Courtney Coleman, we love having you on the show. I feel warmer and more built up already.
Thank you, Randall. I'm so glad.
Thank you, Courtney Coleman, and everyone else here listening to the show. We are back in just a moment. We're talking California pistachios. Yes, we produce almost 100% of the pistachios made in the United States. I'm your host, Randall White. We're back in just a moment.